there.
Wasn't there a Super Bowl where y'all had to study during it? Study for a test during the Super Bowl?
That was the Falcons.
Yeah, that was the Falcons.
Oh, that's
Patriots
a terrible one
yeah.
to have to study during. Yeah, you know.
We brought beer to the library and then accidentally sprayed one of them all over the library.
That's very.
Henry's like trying to get it like out of his backpack, and he's at a metal desk, and there's like a sharp edge, and he like hit it on the bottom edge, so basically like inadvertently shotgunned the beer, and then rather than doing anything about it, he just let it spray all over the room for like 5 seconds, and like soaked all of our stuff.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to another rendition of the Bros and the Berg podcast. Today is the day after Valentine's Day of our Lord's Year 2023. We welcome you back in. My name is Ryan Doyle. I'm joined by my co-host Robbie Bergstone and our executive producer, planner, and certified dead weight Connor Doyle that helps put this all together.
Planner when Connor literally texted us for content for us to put together earlier today,
of which Ryan did not fulfill. So I
was sleeping.
I asked you to
suck my nuts. I mean, just actually suck my nuts.
Can we give ourselves a round of applause though first for actually doing 2 weeks in a row for the first time in God knows how long? Just clap it up, everyone. I'm really proud of us.
Yeah,
really proud of us.
We did.
I almost didn't make it, but we're still here and we're grinding and we're gonna put that work in.
Speaking of big accomplishments, the Super Bowl was this past Sunday, and the Kansas City Chiefs are your reigning, defending Super Bowl champions, defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35. What did I say?
Shitty. You can say Kansas shitty.
That's what he was going for.
I actually was not. That was a legit just mess up.
I think the people of Philadelphia would, in fact, concur with that statement.
They would say something much worse sure.
But also, fuck Philly.
On God.
Stupid Eagles.
Dude, I want to agree so much because I'm a Cowboys fan, but they have so many classy players like Jalen and Jason Kelsey. They're such a nice team, and so I hate having.
But their fans don't deserve those players.
I heard classy in Philadelphia. In my
you tell me Jalen Hurts isn't a classy individual?
Yes, of course, but Philly fans might be the worst fans in the world. Not just the U.S., the world.
Patriots a couple years ago.
Nah, I take the Patriots over the Phillies or Philly.
The Phillies literally have a chant that is like, "You don't like us, we don't care." That they regularly do at their sporting events. We're from Philly, fucking Philly. You don't like us, we don't care. That's the whole thing. They just do it over and over again. It's awful.
City services grease light poles. If that doesn't tell you something about a city, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
I'm befuddled.
Well, in this game, the Philadelphia Eagles took the lead at halftime. It was 7-7 after the first quarter, and then it ended up being 24-14 going into halftime. And then the Kansas City. Oh my God! I did it again. I'm not even trying.
No, that was intentional. That was definitely intentional.
I can't say it can't. The Kansas City Chiefs mounted a comeback in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 points in the fourth quarter, and becoming the champions on arguably one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. In terms of just the game itself,
everyone's going to talk about the holding penalty, and it sucks because it kind of did take the legs off the game a little bit. And it's one of those calls that's tough because it probably was holding, but it's a hard spot to call that. And they've been letting a lot, of things go the rest of the game.
Yeah,
I think was the argument.
And reportedly, I don't know how true it is, but reportedly, the person who committed the penalty, James Bradbury, I believe the name is, committed the penalty. Said in the locker room that that was a holding. That's reportedly. I don't know if that's confirmed.
No, you can watch the interview. He did.
Oh, okay, well then there was also a lot of post game interviews where I think the head coach, I think Jalen, I think Jason Kelsey, I think they all said that it was holding. So, I mean, as much as they want to be upset, I mean, obviously the players themselves admitted it. And the other narrative in this game was, of course, the grass field as opposed to the turf. This was a new quote unquote $800 million grass field, one that Oklahoma State had played on. Apparently, this was courtesy of Oklahoma State. And obviously, I mean, you guys saw, especially in the second half, people slipping and sliding all over the field. And obviously, Philly fans, kind of tried to blame it on that as well. But then the reporters brought this up in the post game conference, and every single player responded, the Chiefs had to play on it too. It's not like it was a one-sided thing.
I did see an interesting breakdown of like the reason that the Chiefs didn't have as much in this issue, especially getting to the quarterback, because that was the big thing, right? The defensive line for the Eagles was the best in the league all year, and they didn't even register a sack. I think they only got like 7 pressures the entire game or something ridiculous. But the thing is that they generate that using their defensive linemen, which inherently have to dig into the field more, versus the Chiefs generate their pressure by blitzing generally. So those guys are upright. They're not really, down in the turf trying to, drive against people. And that's why the Chiefs are a little more successful getting to Jalen than the Eagles were getting to Mahomes.
Of course.
And you saw Jalen like change his spikes. They mentioned it on the broadcast. It went from like a 1/2 inch spike to a 3/4 inch spike. And I think I saw in some of the pregame interviews, I think it was Patrick Peterson that was on one of the desks talking about it, but like how they roll in the field, and depending on like the weather conditions outside, it can sometimes get like a little bit dewy when they roll it back in just from the temperature changes and all that kind of stuff. And you got all that paint and stuff for the Super Bowl. It's like it's 2023, and you see it like in SoFi, obviously, like that field claimed ACLs and all that kind of shit. And I don't think it was this year, but the year prior, where the Ravens lost like 5 players in the span of a week to just freak knee injuries, working like on turf and all this kind of stuff. The NFL's got to figure out, like, I think a league mandated like grass. I think they could do better, and I don't know why they haven't invested the money into it.
Yeah, this has been a big, anti-turf year. A lot of teams have come out saying they don't want to play on turf anymore because those knee injuries you talked about. But then you have something like this grass field where everyone's slipping and sliding. Like, granted, not really as many injuries because the grass does give out when you slip and slide.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, where is that happy medium that we can have a consistent field that also doesn't just come up and like eat players' ACLs left and right.
I saw this podcast by the name of Stay Hot Podcast. It's also there were 3 guys, and all of them got pretty big starts on TikTok, and they all started a sports podcast together. And one of the guys is named Matt. And he basically he's making a joke out of it, but essentially he's of the conspiracy theory that NFL is pushing this big turf narrative where they purposely made it like a really bad grass field so they could push the turf. They're like, no, see what happens when we use grass.
Agreed.
Winners and losers of the Super Bowl: winners Chiefs, losers Eagles. Winner turf fields, losers
players' knees.
Grass,
ACLs, MCLs.
There you go.
So a few notable players from this game. Obviously, God, I think people made the argument that he could have been the MVP even with the loss. Jalen Hurts on the day with 304 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdowns, 70 rushing yards, the most rushing yards in a Super Bowl by a quarterback, the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in Super Bowl history. Just an incredible game all around from Jalen Hurts. And just for someone to be that young and that quote-unquote inexperienced just in terms of how long he's been in the league, to have that kind of poise in that kind of game with a team that's been there before and has won the whole thing before is really just incredible. I mean, I don't think people can really say enough about how well Jalen performed here.
Yeah, being a Bama grad, watching him in 2016 to seeing how far he's come is really like actually mind blowing. If you would asked me 5 years ago if Jalen Hurts would have been like a Super Bowl leading quarterback, I would have said you're out of your fucking mind. But I think the Eagles in the regular season were 16-1 with him starting, which is like a crazy number. And the broadcaster said at the beginning of the game, the Eagles have the most talented roster in football. I mean, Kansas City might have the best player in the world, but the Eagles just are deep and like play well together. And unfortunately, I wouldn't be shocked to see them potentially back next year. It'll be really interesting to see what they do in the offseason. It
was crazy to watch on the other side of like Patrick Mahomes. I feel like didn't make as many Patrick Mahomes type plays as you expected. Like he really let the game come to him. Like he played the game. I saw someone compare like he played the game like Brady does, right? Like he wasn't making all those flashy plays that he usually makes. He just really let the game come to him, made plays when they were there.
Well, that's because the Eagles couldn't get to him.
Right, exactly. He had all the time in the world, and I mean, he had his ankle too,
I was
right?
about
Like
to
I think
say
he
his
was
ankle.
more healthy, but like he probably didn't want to run around as much, and he did hurt that ankle right at the end of the first half as
Yep.
well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking if I'm the Eagles defensive coordinator and you see that ankle do that, like you're getting after him in the second half. Like you will do what you have to. But again, you're doing it against probably one of the best escape artists to ever play the game,
and
even on a bum ankle.
and that's not how the Eagles played all year. They didn't blitz because they could get pressure with bringing 3 or 4 guys because of how good their defensive line was all year.
Right.
And I think that's a tough adjustment to make in that final game. And I think that's where you saw, Andy Reid versus I can't remember their defensive coordinator's name, but the experience of Andy Reid to be able to have a game plan up and running, and just really outclassed him on that side of the ball.
Jonathan Gannon.
I thought it was Spagnola.
No, I think it's Ben
Jonathan
Johnson. Yeah.
Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon. There you go. We're all
Yeah,
wrong.
it's
It is
Jonathan
Jonathan
Gannon.
Gannon. You're right.
Yeah, because I know Ryan, because that's in the outline.
Magnola was
'Cause
the Chiefs
he's going to
defensive
be a head.
coordinator, Ryan.
He's about to be a head coach somewhere. That's
Are
another.
you talking
head name.
about? Are you talking about the Eagles?
Yeah, the Eagles
Yes.
DC.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, sorry. Whoops.
But yeah, going further. Something I saw on TikTok actually in terms of why the Chiefs were able to beat the Eagles in this game was something along the lines of the Eagle, where it's like this person had kind of been studying the Eagles all year, and especially their defensive formations, where the Eagles were very, very like they adjusted to everything that the offense did. So if there's something in motion, then the Eagles would adjust every single time. And so I think that what the Kansas City Chiefs did is kind of take advantage of that. So a lot of times they would have decoys or fake motions or whatever because the Eagles would jump on it, and then they kind of took advantage of that and some of the plays that they ran where it took advantage
And
of that.
that's also just Andy Reid's offense, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they did that with Tyreek all the time, where Tyreek was a decoy to go do something the other way to Kelsey or vice
Yeah.
versa. And that's
Yeah.
something that they do really well is utilize motion, utilize, the eye candy to get your defense flowing one way and then go back the other. That's both of the touchdown passes that Mahomes threw were great play calls.
Yep.
Kelsey kind of run that fake in route and then break outside. And
Yeah,
then
it was
Gary
like
did
a
the same
pseudo
thing where
wheel route.
yeah, they were both just really good play calls and really good routes that they scored on.
I mean, speaking of other players that kind of stood out in this game, the Eagles had 3 receivers with 6 catches or more. And on top of that list, Devonta Smith, 7 receptions, 100 yards. Another Alabama grad, another guy that Jalen hurt. Jalen played with him, didn't he, for a little bit?
Very briefly.
Yeah, for like 1 year.
Yeah, super briefly.
But obviously, I've always been a Devonta Smith supporter. I've never liked the narrative of, oh, he's too small, he's too skinny. Because, he proves it once again after winning a Heisman in college and having 7 catches here on 100 yards. So, one catch that I hate was called back for him. That was an incredible catch. There were 2 of those in this game, one from Goddard and one from Devonta, where it's like, oh, I wish that wasn't the rule because you feel like it's a catch.
Yeah.
But just a great game from him on the Chiefs side. Patrick Mahomes, as you said, not having as flashy a game. He only threw for 182 yards, which is probably less than most people would expect, but still 3 touchdowns. And as Robbie said, some beautifully designed plays for him. And obviously Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 81 yards, a touchdown. The man is open. How does he get so open? How does he do that? It's ridiculous. Is Travis Kelce one of the if not the greatest tight end of all time?
He presents so many matchup problems. His route running is that of a wide receiver. He's physical. He can block, and if he gets a matchup with a linebacker in space like that, Mahomes is going to throw that ball 100% of the time, as he should. Right,
Yeah.
and Andy Reid has obviously tons of plays designed around exploiting that matchup.
Biggest fantasy cheat code of the last couple
Also,
years. You can draft him as your tight end. He's going to be as good as a wide receiver 1 or 2.
Yep.
Also, I'm interested to see how the Chiefs use him next year. But Pachenko is a fucking stud, and you were seeing it really towards the back half of the regular season when he started getting more involved. Kind of took the reins from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is really scary. He hits that hole super, super fast. And so I think the announcers, I don't know if the announcers were mentioned at this game or I think at the AFC Championship game, but he came from Rutgers and he was a late round draft pick. And they were talking about how this, watching guys like him solidifies the fact that you shouldn't be taking running backs like early in draft rounds. Like you got a guy like this who he went to Rutgers, which sucks, obviously, and didn't get it. Like I think he had a decent draft workout, but nothing crazy. And he's like probably one of the hardest runners I've seen all year. So he'll be someone to watch out for.
Edwards-Helaire like irrelevant in the end of the year. Like he was hurt, but like as he's worked back from injuries, like you don't need him because him and McKinnon were just doing everything you needed already.
And speaking of the Super Bowl, along with Super Bowl, we have to talk about the Super Bowl halftime performance. None of our first song predictions came true because Rihanna opened up her show with "Bitch Better Have My Money" as the opening track.
The bag, if you will.
I'm sorry, I knew Diamonds as the last song. Nobody would expect. I don't think anybody expected Diamonds as the very last song. I think everybody thought Umbrella was a shoo-in for the last song, but
yeah, she didn't even play my song, so
that's crazy. Rihanna obviously
bring out Yee.
Rihanna having no guest appearances. I think her vocals were great. Obviously, she was a little restricted in her movement because she is pregnant.
She did have a guest. She did have a guest. Yeah. Her unborn child was the guest. Connor, keep up.
Right,
Stupid.
Yeah, you're right. Rihanna is pregnant. Her agency and her manager confirmed after the fact. Obviously, people were kind of guessing. But yeah, I think it was a good halftime show. I'm not saying I don't think it's necessarily in the upper tier, but it's definitely not a bad halftime show by any means. I think it was just a good halftime show. It was cool to see a
halftime show where they didn't like try to go overboard with all the sets and stuff. Like it was like very simple and like I think obviously you would have liked to see her like sing and dance a little more than she did, but part of that is probably because she was pregnant. It's a little bit hard to do those things when you're pregnant. So I think they did a good job of keeping it simple and like that was a breath of fresh air from what we've had.
I know she was harnessed in, but the platform when she rose up at the very end of Diamond, it was scaring the hell out of me. I was like, oh, I would crap myself if I was that high, even if I was harnessed in. That was awful. But yeah,
you make poopy.
Hey yo!
I did not like that.
I hated that.
I really disliked that. God.
Did you guys see all the things comparing to like a Smash layout? Like whenever the
Super Smash Bros.
Yeah. I did like that.
Also, in reference to one of your prop bets, Robbie, the outside Gatorade color purple. It was a purple Gatorade bath. It was like plus 750. Were the
incredibly rigged. Just so incredibly rigged.
Also, Tails Never Fails. Get fucked.
And
voice.
The over on the national anthem by like 4 seconds, something like that. It was
what a line! What a line!
That was a really good line.
It was a great line.
Someone do their fucking that's who it is. Research.
Who was the? I know the other one was who the first player they show. I can't remember.
Yeah, I didn't notice who it was.
I didn't either. We'll wrap up the Super Bowl. We have a few NFL headlines to go over. Obviously, we're kind of getting in the dead zone of sports at the moment, but obviously there's still headlines to cover. The biggest one, probably the biggest one at the moment, the Raiders have released Derek Carr officially before his contract deadline.
Who saw that coming?
And obviously before his big payday, I believe 40.16 million was the figure. What do we see here for Derek Carr in the future, guys, or just the Raiders in general?
The fact that they're not paying Derek Carr $40 million a year is just absurd. First off, let's just get that out of the way. Like, I don't know who approved that, but that was just dumb.
He's so
I don't know. I mean, he's gonna end up in the NFC South, right? Like, if you're a quarterback right now and you want a new home,
the Bucks,
the easiest division to go win is the NFC South right now. It's not even really close.
Yep. As a Panthers fan, Rob, how would you feel about getting Derek Carr?
No, the Panthers are going to draft a QB.
I was just asking.
I don't know, but I would be conflicted because I feel like we have less talent than the Raiders had this year on offense, and he didn't really do anything with that. But that could also just be McDaniel's fault because he's just been a terrible head coach everywhere he's gone. Let's be honest. And so I would be concerned, but like also I don't know if I want to draft a quarterback because I think at 9 you're probably looking at Anthony Richardson, which maybe not a bad pick, but that's a project, right? Like you're clearly not playing for right now, and like our defense is getting to a point where it's good enough to play for right now. Like I think a lot of people going to be a really solid defense.
I think a lot of people actually expect that the Panthers might trade up. It's possible.
It definitely is possible.
I guess we'll see. I think.
Then I'll let Frank Reich wants too.
I think this will be one of the most interesting drafts, NFL drafts in a while, especially from a quarterback perspective, because obviously last year the quarterback class was so terrible. And you had Pickett and Willis is bad, and Pickett's serviceable, but those are really the only guys that you can name from the last class. And I think the class before that had a few guys, but not a ton. But this one coming in, I think you could name probably 5-6 guys that could go in the top 10. They're just quarterbacks, and I think that's interesting for a lot of teams.
Whoever drafts Will Levis is just gonna be so disappointed. Like,
you're a Will Levis hater. You don't like Will Levis.
I don't get it. Have you watched him play football?
That was kind of me with Trubisky. I never saw it with Trubisky.
He has all of the things, like if you're a scout and you're watching him for just the intangibles, right? Like the physical traits that he has, sure, it's there. But if you watch him play football, like I don't think he knows what he's doing. Like he put up some stinkers against some bad defenses in the SEC this year.
There were similar comments for Josh Allen at Wyoming. Sure. Like he played some shitty ass teams, but also could huck the ball 70 yards and had all.
But Josh Allen is also the exception to the rule, not the standard, right? Like another one I think of is Brock Osweiler. Same type of thing. Like you look at him like that guy should be an NFL quarterback, but like he was never great in college.
Yeah,
sure, agreed.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks who suck, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is considering obviously he's debating right now on whether to retire or not. You guys, what do we see in Aaron Rodgers' future? What do we think?
Aaron Perk 30 Rodgers? Yeah, just
Aaron locking himself in a dark room Rodgers.
Hang up the old cleats, big guy.
Where are we approaching territory-wise of Aaron Rodgers as the most overrated quarterback of all time?
Mahomes,
like where are we at in that conversation?
Mahomes is greater legacy-wise than Rodgers.
Yes, not a question.
But like, when do we get
infringing on top 5 of all time already?
I think Mahomes is easily the most talented quarterback of all time. Like,
if Mahomes didn't play another down in the NFL, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
Yeah, 100%.
And so would Rodgers. Like we talked about it before that Rodgers is obviously a very good quarterback, but he's done nothing with it. He's won 1 Super Bowl and like hasn't even made another one.
Yeah,
in an NFC that wasn't that good for a lot of years.
Yeah,
I think we're approaching is Aaron Rodgers overrated territory.
Some of those playoff series though, like was coaching. Like it wasn't Rodgers. Some of it was Mike McCarthy. Shout out Mike McCarthy. Some of it was it was just some of the coaching staff decisions were terrible. I mean, I'm notably remembering. I think it was 2014. It was the one where it was the Des Catch year, and they ended up losing the NFC Conference Championship. I think. God, who was that?
Kaepernick.
Was it It was the Niners. That's right. Yeah.
Ravens Niners Super Bowl.
It was the Niners one. Yeah. I thought it was the Niners because they always lose to the Niners.
Aaron Rodgers, is allergic to San Francisco.
It's so funny because that's where he's from too, and he just cannot.
He cannot beat San Francisco.
Like, how are you losing in Lambeau to who's their quarterback? Not this year, but previous year when they lost to the Niners.
Garoppolo got him.
Yeah.
We
cannot be losing to Garoppolo and Kaepernick.
Jimmy G.
We can't be losing to Kaepernick. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Granted, he went in and like ran for the most yards of any quarterback I think in any NFL playoff game ever, but still you can't let Colin Kaepernick come in and beat you at home.
Reportedly, Aaron Rodgers has said that he will most likely come back if the Packers say that they are in a win now mode. However, if they're in rebuild mode, then he will exit stage left. I am under the impression I think he will exit stage left. I don't think the Packers have enough to really contend at any level.
They traded Devontae Adams. The win now went out the window with Adams.
I agree. Apparently, Aaron Rodgers doesn't understand that.
But think of all of the receivers he has to throw to. You have the likes of Alan Lazard.
Christian
you
Watson.
have Christian Watson and Romeo.
Christian Watson's actually all right. Romeo.
All right, but like he's not gonna. Is Christian Watson gonna be a number 1 wide receiver in this league? Probably not.
You never know.
All right, Connor. Relax.
Hey, people were talking trash about that Christian Kirk contract, and he was one of the better receivers this year. So
I think it was maybe me that was talking.
I think I think Yeah, I think
we'll have to go back.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that we ganged up on Connor about, and then we were both wrong.
Christian Kirk was actually good.
I think how that all went was Amari. I was happy that we didn't sign Amari because I thought that the $20 million a year was a little high.
Yeah,
and then I saw what Kirk got, and I'm like, oh wow, the Jags are desperate. And then I
You were wrong.
approved the 5-year $60 million from Gallup because I thought he would be better than he is, and now I'm sad as a Cowboys fan.
Hey, we got T.Y. Hilton though. Shout out T.Y. Hilton.
Are you guys? Do you guys draft a wide receiver? No, yeah, I mean you guys have CD, but
I don't really. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, well, who are
I don't know what
the
we do.
Cowboys draft
Quarterback.
targets? What do you
F-back.
need?
F. Dak Prescott.
Quarterback.
Imagine. I mean,
I think we go back see what kind of offensive lineman potentially.
Yeah,
there.
I was thinking O-line.
Yeah.
Fucking Zach Martin is getting old.
Yeah.
Smith is out half the year. Like we just need to solidify that up a bit.
You could attempt to draft a slightly less fat
Micah.
running back. That could also be an option.
We got Pollard.
Get Zeke off my fucking payroll. Also, if the price is right on Pollard, I'm 100% down with bringing him back. And I'm interested to see what the market is on him because he had such a good year, but he also snapped the old chicken bone.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll let him walk. I think they tag him if they can't get to an agreement. I think they'll just tag him for 1 year. But
We might need a tight
that
end.
was the rumor before he got hurt that he's probably gonna get
apparently 2 of the tight ends we got on the roster besides Schultz are pretty decent.
We might need a tight end, but
I think we let Schultz walk.
I do too. I think we got to let Schultz
pay him
walk.
the money he wants.
Agreed. Continuing on with NFL headlines, some hirings. We were talking about him earlier. The Cardinals have officially hired the Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon as the new head coach. This is what was the stat? Schefter put it up or somebody. It's like the 6th Arizona coach in some odd years, just something ridiculous. I mean, obviously with the amount of culture changes and stuff like this, especially with a team with a young quarterback in Kyler Murray. So I guess here we go with another Arizona Cardinals experiment, and I guess we'll see how it works out.
My favorite thing was that they were talking about Brian Flores for that job. It was like Brian Flores couldn't get along with Tua. What makes you think him and Kyler?
Kyler screams at Cliff Kingsbury Murray.
Goes to play COD all weekend.
Next coach hiring, the Indianapolis Colts have hired Shane Steichen as their new head coach.
Robbie's Indianapolis Colts, whatever the Panthers are sucking.
That's what I wanted the Panthers to get, so I'm glad that my second team picked him up.
Yeah. So there's that. And then another one I have, the last NFL headline that I have, Todd Monken leaves Georgia to become the Ravens offensive coordinator.
That's a great pickup for
the
Baltimore.
For the old Ravens.
Yep.
We'll give
Does Lamar Jackson re-sign in Baltimore?
My favorite idea I saw was that they trade Lamar to the Bears for Justin Fields.
I saw there was some talks of him potentially going to the Falcons instead of the Falcons taking a quarterback this year.
I'd hate that.
That sounds awful. He's got Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
No, I hate that because I think the Falcons would be good. That's why I hate that.
Yeah, but and we have a coping Falcons fan who says, and I don't necessarily disagree with him, that the Falcons are the best coached team in the NFC South and they have by far the worst roster. So
yeah.
I'm interested to see. The NFC South, obviously, as everyone knows, was a fucking dumpster fire last year.
Well, let's also think about the coaches in the NFC South and think if that's really high praise from this past year. We had Matt Rule.
Okay.
Shit for brains.
Yeah, okay.
We have Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Shit for brains. And then we have Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
Shit for brains.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's not high competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a fair point. I can't argue with there.
Real quick, over under reaction.
Yes, we're doing the segment.
Not the whole segment.
God dang. All right.
With the trade of Sean Payton to the Broncos, over under reaction, Broncos make the playoffs.
I think that's a right in the middle. I think that's an appropriate reaction.
The only reason I say slightly over is just because that division is still really good. You still have to deal with the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Good point.
Well, the Raiders are free 2 wins, so you got that in the bag.
That's
a good point. Yeah,
that's a very, very good point.
Well, you get the Bills.
They can't be worse, right?
Yeah. Well, you would think.
There's too much talent on that team for them to be worse than they were last year.
What was that? I remember we had a podcast the week out. There was just one game. I think it was near the end of the season where Russ. Oh God, who was? It was one of the. I think it was KJ Hamler was wide open in the back of the end zone, and it was the game-winning play, and Russ just didn't see him. It was how the hell did you not see? I don't
Was
remember
that game
who
that they
was.
when
I
they
thought it
played
was
the
like
Chiefs
I thought it
really
was like
well?
a terrible. I thought it was like the terrible 12-12 one against the Colts or something like that.
Oh, it might have been, yeah.
I
Remember
thought it
how
was maybe the one in
I thought it
London.
was one of the Thursday night ones that was
No, I
god
think you're right.
awful.
It was that stinker of a game they played against the
That
Colts on
was.
Thursday.
Did you
It
remember
was
that?
Totally.
it was back-to-back weeks with the Broncos.
Do you remember
in prime
that?
time, and everyone wanted to fucking kill
My-
themselves.
Do you remember that 4-week stretch of Thursday night games that were just the worst games you could have won on TV?
Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels wanted to be anywhere else by the end of those games. Like they just really wanted to be anywhere else.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna bring up. Greg Olson, I think calling his first Super Bowl. What did you guys think of him? I forgot to bring that up.
I love Greg
As the color commentator.
Wasn't bad. I think it's kind of hysterical though that since Brady's coming on, Olsen's
He's making like
contract.
7 million less. It's
Hey.
insane.
It goes down to 3 when Brady comes on next
God
year.
almighty.
How do we think Brady's gonna do in the box?
I think it'll be good.
I don't think
I think he'll be
You think
annoyingly.
so?
I think he'll be annoyingly
I
good.
don't think he'll be that good.
he's going to be
personally.
very good.
I think he is. See, this is Christian
He's-
Kirk all over
he's-
again.
No, so here's my thought. He's gonna be
Yeah.
like Peyton, right? Like you watch the Manning cast. Obviously, Peyton and Eli are good because they're together. But, like whenever bad football is being played, like you can just tell how mad Peyton is.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really
Right.
color
That's
commentate
true,
on it.
yeah.
He's just like pissed off to be watching the game, and Brady's gonna be that times 10. If some quarterback makes a dumb play, it's just gonna be Brady shitting on them the entire time, which might be kind of funny. But
yeah, it's true.
I think personally it would be a lot funnier or would be a lot more like fan interaction if he wasn't on like cable network. I
Mhm.
think if he was on like a YouTube TV some like standalone cast of the game besides like CBS or what, I think he's on Fox. Besides Fox, I think he would have a little bit more like leash because like he's got a fucking mouth on him. So like I would love to hear that.
So hear my idea for this, right? So obviously Brady comes in, he's Fox's number 1. We get rid of Chris Collingsworth, and Greg Olson becomes the number 1 for NBC.
Yeah, I'd be down as a fan of the game.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Moving on from the NFL, we now get into the NBA a little bit. Obviously, the NBA trade deadline hit this last week. The biggest move, obviously, last week we recorded it like 2 days before the trade deadline, so obviously the biggest move at the time was Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. Now the biggest move, probably league-changing, one of the best super teams that I think we've seen in a while. Kevin Durant has officially been traded to the Phoenix Suns from the Brooklyn Nets, and the Suns are going to win. The Suns are gonna win.
No, they're the Mavericks' son.
The Suns are going to win.
I don't think the Suns make the NBA Finals. I'm gonna lock that in right now.
I hate that
Suns
take.
don't have a bench.
What do you mean?
CP3, list them off.
I got you.
Read them
List
off.
off.
1 second.
They traded
Kwame
their
Brown,
to the fucking Nets.
But their starting lineup is
I think
nasty.
trading away Bridges was the worst part of that trade.
Yeah.
Trading away Mikal Bridges was a bad thing for them to do because he really does a lot of things for them.
I would rather have Mikal Bridges on my team than CP3.
Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
Cool.
They got
Who?
from
No,
the
they-
Nets.
In seriousness, probably the best guys off their bench is Cameron Payne
Yeah,
Andrew
he's a
Shamet
liability.
and Terrence Ross.
That's fine.
Those are the 3 best guys off the bench. But their starting lineup is disgusting.
KD's putting up 45 minutes a game.
Okay.
CP3 is going to get hurt. Like he is
piss
old.
He's
ball.
also old and washed.
Yeah, he is washed.
Dude,
100%.
y'all hate CP. I know I'm not the biggest Chris Paul fan anymore,
all the time.
but I know, come on.
DeAndre Ayton's going to disappear in the finals.
Well,
'cause
yeah,
he's kind of a
he'd do
bitch.
that.
They're not making the finals. I'm
They are
telling you,
making the
I'm
finals.
so confident in this take. It's gonna be
Who's
the
making
Nuggets.
them? Who?
The Denver Nuggets.
Against the Suns? The Nuggets
Yes.
can't beat the Mavericks.
Jokic is gonna fucking cook DeAndre Ayton. Like, I absolutely cooked that man.
Funny, I just said that because the Nuggets are currently beating the Mavericks. but
Yeah.
We do be getting spanked. Right
yeah.
Wait, we're coming back. Wait.
I don't know how this Suns team doesn't make the finals. I can't see it. It's too much talent. They're too good. This is like I mean I guess you make the Nets argument all you want. You want to say the biggest failed super team in history. Kyrie, Harden, and KD played a total of 17 games together, 16.
Yeah.
I have another take for you is that Kevin Durant can't win without Steph Curry. It's just that simple, Connor. It's really not. It's not difficult to figure out.
But AD won't get another ring.
Okay, if KD's foot was this much shorter, you realize they would have been in the finals 2 years ago, right?
But they didn't. But
So
it wasn't.
Oh my god, y'all are KD. Y'all are KD. See, here's what's bad about this team, right? Like, in terms of y'all's minds, Ryan already hates the Suns. He hates Chris Paul. He hates Devin Booker, and now KD has joined them, and he hates.
We're talking about the Clippers. I'm just waiting for the Clippers to somehow come up, and I'm gonna fucking go ballistic.
Put Paul George to the Suns.
Well,
I might implode.
Reportedly, or I guess we have to say the next headline. So obviously that headline, but the other probably biggest thing to happen in free agency, Russell Westbrook was part of a 3-team trade. Russell Westbrook is now on the Utah Jazz, and as a result, D'Angelo Russell, the Minnesota Timberwolves were also part of this 3-team trade. D'Angelo Russell
fleeced. I don't know what the Timberwolves are doing.
D'Angelo Russell is a part of the Lakers now, but reportedly Paul George is actively trying to recruit Russell Westbrook to join the Clippers because I think there's some kind of buyout that might happen with the Jazz. So would that make you angry, Ryan, with Russell Westbrook being on the Clippers?
I feel bad for Russ. I really do.
Yeah.
He signed that league deal, that 5-year, 200 whatever. I think it was the biggest deal at the time.
Yeah.
And has not spent more than a year on a single team of that 5-year deal.
Which is
and
nuts.
in his defense, none of those teams were built to play to his strengths, right? It's just Russ, go cook, and it's that's just not Westbrook's game.
It was tanking OKC. It was the Rockets, who were the worst run organization in the
NBA. It was him and
Wizards.
Bradley Beal. Yeah. Him and Bradley Beal and whom?
Gortat, I don't know. Was he still fucking there? And then
what?
Then the Lakers, obviously, with Dana Davis, and then it goes to the Jazz, who imploded their roster to get capital.
Whoa! They got 2 All-Stars.
No, I know, and no one saw that coming. They got fucking 8 first-round picks for trading Gobert and Donovan Mitchell.
You guys know why the Timberwolves traded Russell, right? It's because he was bullying Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah, because he was being mean.
He was just talking mad shit to Rudy Gobert all the time.
So
and so they were this is not working.
Soft.
We gave up 4 picks for this man. We cannot have him being bullied in the locker room anymore.
And they're bad. It's Cat is not great this season. He's kind of struggling.
Yeah,
it's not great. Anthony Edwards is playing well, but that's about it on the Timberwolves side. So yeah, T-Wolves got fleeced yet again. And another interesting trade. John Wall went back to the Rockets, and then they waived him.
Hilarious.
Hysterical.
I mean, okay, apparently the GM
play basketball and just get passed around the league.
Can John Wall go re-sign with the Clippers again? So they traded him, got stuff back, got waived, and then he comes back to the Clippers again? That'd be actually fucking hilarious.
But reportedly the Rockets GM, the plan of that was get Eric Gordon off the books, because Eric Gordon was making something like $20 million a year, and
he'll be a solid player. He's a good he's a good role player,
but he's not $20 million. So I actually
$20 million a year.
So I low key, as funny as it is, it's probably the best move for the Rockets in the moment, especially considering that odds are when with the lottery pick they'll get Wembanyama. So I guess we'll see what happens with Houston.
John Wall has played 74 games in the last 4 years.
That's really bad.
Is it just? I feel like John Wall could actually be a solid addition for the Lakers off the bench.
No, he's not bad.
The injury bug got him, man.
Yeah.
He was 29 when the Achilles went out, and then obviously was in Houston and that whole shit show, and then it just kind of went downhill. I kind of feel for him.
That podcast interview was hilarious that he went on. But it was just I watched, I think, almost the whole thing, and just the whole thing. The guy asked him, he's like, "Oh, how was it playing down in Houston, or whatever?" And he starts talking about telling the story, basically how the GM and coach kind of disagreed. The coach kind of wanted him to play and be like the veteran to the younger guys, and the GM didn't want to play at all because basically they wanted to just tank. And one of the first games that he went out there and actually played, he was like, "I got Jay Sean Tate," and then he names 2 other guys, and he's like, "And some other dude. How am I supposed to win?" It was just so funny. I was like, he's being honest. And then apparently, literally at a certain point, the GM wouldn't let him get any minutes anymore. And so he said he would work out from 8 to 10:30 or whatever, and then a game would be at 7, and so he would get to the arena at 6:59 because he knew he wouldn't be playing. So he would just go and just sit on the bench. He would get there a minute early and just sit and then just leave and do this every day. And he was like, "Man, I ain't gonna lie, I was bored as shit." for like 4 months. I was
So
like,
funny.
no, it was actually a good interview. Moving on from the NBA to the MLB, two quick headlines from the MLB, Ryan's favorite organization. The MLB plans to emphasize the enforcement of the balk rule this upcoming season. It was called 122 times in this last season, which is the lowest since the 1973 season. Ryan, you seem to have an opinion about this?
Dude, pitchers be doing all types of bullshit.
That's what they were saying. Yeah.
Like like, come on. 122 times is ridiculous when each team plays 162 times a year.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'll watch a baseball game, regular season baseball game, 3 times a year. That means just turn on the game, not even like watch the whole fucking thing.
It just happens to be the only thing on ESPN at that time. That's why you watch regular season baseball.
And pitchers never, there's runners on. They're not coming fully set. Like they're changing their leg kick, doing all sorts of weird shit. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this turns out. One of my favorite highlights, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, of a balk was when it was a balk off. Called it and actually like balked in a guy from third to home and won the game.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. While we're talking about bending the rules, can we just get fuck the Astros in real quick?
Yeah. Standard
just
operating
real quick. All right, we can continue on.
All right, yeah. It's kind of weird because that was the team I was rooting for because I was just I was supporting my boy Gabe.
You're a Rangers fan. I mean, I know they suck,
but yeah, come on. I'm a Cowboys fan. So moving on to the next MLB.
Dallas sports are tough right now, guys. I mean, I guess you're gonna make the playoffs.
The Stars.
The Mavs are still gonna make the playoffs.
They're better.
Mavs are still gonna make the playoffs.
I said that. The Cowboys made the playoffs, but
yeah, well, you knew what was gonna happen there. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know? Real quick, back to the NBA. Do you know what would happen if the Mavs drew a first round thing with the Nuggets? You know how much Jokic would put up? You know how much Jokic would put up? He would not beat them.
Dude, I'm fully of the opinion if we play the Nuggets, we would beat them in a 7-game series.
Jokic would drop 50 a night.
I don't care. So would Luka. All right, I'm gonna need you to come back down. Yeah. If we play the 7-game series with the Nuggets, we would beat the Nuggets.
No,
I fully believe that. Yeah, no, I believe that.
Currently,
low key, the Suns would beat us in 5. We'd beat the Nuggets in 6 or 7.
Do you think the Mavs
riding the Suns right now to pay any attention to anyone else?
What'd you say?
15-yard penalty for dick riding. Do you think we're like the second best team in the West?
Yes. I always hate playing the Warriors.
I know what I really want to see now is the Suns catch the Warriors in the first round. And Steph give KD that absolute work.
Yeah. You can't win without me. Just start talking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, no, Draymond would be so in KD's head. Holy shit, Draymond would make KD cry. KD would actually start crying on the court because Draymond would be in his head so bad.
As much of a dickhead that like Green is, like he is him up here. And KD is not, because KD got them burner accounts and everyone knows about it. He's soft. He's Charmin soft.
KD is mentally so soft.
I think that if Draymond started bullying him, KD would ask for a fan's phone and start tweeting about how much he hates Draymond. Back to the MLB to round off the MLB headlines. So apparently sources, but apparently this rule is kind of up in the air, but the extra inning, the extra runner rule is to remain. I hate that rule. I know it's to speed up games. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like the extra runner.
I do kind of like
the pitch clock.
Yes, agreed. No, I like the pitch clock. I don't like the extra runner.
Pitch clock is a necessity.
Agreed. So yeah, in terms of MLB, that is pretty much done. Looking at some of the college basketball current bracketology, I don't know if it's probably not been updated because it says Alabama will be the number 1 top overall seed, and Alabama
we
just lost to Tennessee.
We literally lost like an hour ago. It was fucking awful.
Yeah,
I watched.
I wish I was in a betting state because whoever put the fucking line at 150 points for the over is smoking crack. Tennessee has one of the best defenses in the country, and they just lost back-to-back buzzer beaters to absolute schmucks.
And we also have not given up more than 70 points in a single SEC game all year.
I would have put my 401k on the under there. Holy shit, I'm impressed. Anyways,
But before that, apparently, I think they were adjusting the bracket a little bit because it looks like you guys would be in the South. So it looks like you guys would be in the South. So if you were still at that 1 seed, apparently your 8-9 match would either be against NC State or Florida Atlantic.
I'd take that matchup any day.
Oh yeah, we're Michigan State.
Give me all.
We're Michigan State. Yeah. Hey,
yeah, I mean, even with this loss, we're still on the one line. Like we'd really have to implode down the stretch to get off the one line. But
Oklahoma State losing to Kansas. Granted, Kansas is fifth last night, so I'm not too pressed about it.
Always seem to catch him at least once in Gallagher. I was. Y'all have Kansas's number. Usually, you split the series every year.
Yeah. But anyways, we're on the other side of the bracket. So we'd if we beat Arkansas, according to what this says, we'd have to play Purdue next, which that isn't fun.
For doink.
Yeah. So let's see. Houston would draw Providence or Duke. Kansas looks like would draw Maryland or Pittsburgh. And the Big Ten with 8 teams, the Big 12 with 8 teams. Like I said, these are all guesses for the tournaments at the moment. Some of the teams on the bubble include West Virginia, Mississippi State, Oregon, Auburn, North Carolina, Kentucky. Talk about the Blue Bloods having another difficult year. Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, all in danger of missing the tournament, and for analysts' opinions, most likely will. Like all 3 of them, most likely will.
My favorite stat currently is that Nebraska has more Q1 wins than Kentucky and North Carolina combined. Kentucky has 1, and Carolina has 0, and Nebraska has 2.
Oh, I love that.
That's
personally.
Insane.
Nebraska ball.
Over under reaction. The Big 12 has 4 teams in the Sweet 16.
I'm gonna say over, and here's why.
Here it is.
It's because every time there's a conference, like think about the Big Ten in years past. Like the Big Ten is the greatest conference ever. They're so good. They're gonna dominate the tournament, and then they end up like with 1 team in the second weekend. And I just feel like, yes, it's good to play those really tough games throughout the year, but when you're in a dogfight every single night, I do think it wears on you. And by the time you get to the tournament, like you can say it makes you tournament ready, but like it also like has that wear and tear factor where you really haven't had a night off in 3 months. So I don't think it's unreasonable, but I would be surprised.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. I think it's a reasonable
I like that take.
Also,
I like that take.
When looking at the ACC, Pitt's not ranked, which is insulting at 12-3 in conference. Like, what are we fucking doing? But if you scroll down all the way through the ACC, you see who's at the bottom. Louisville Cardinals, a blue blood in college basketball, are 3-23.
Hey, they were beating Virginia at halftime tonight. They had a lead on Virginia tonight, guys. That was a big win. They're really fucking
bad.
I don't know how you get that bad.
Ryan, if you want to have fun, go look at some of the teams they lost to earlier in the year.
I think I will.
This is we hate Louisville here on this podcast,
right?
No, it's just
Bellarmine. Who is Bellarmine?
It's another school in Kentucky that just got to D1.
That's a little embarrassing. I won't.
Bellarmine, Wright State, App State.
Oof.
Wow.
App State.
Yep. They barely beat Florida A&M. They beat them by 6. Lost to Lipscomb.
Yeah. Classic.
They've lost so many close games. Holy shit.
Yeah. they've been playing better in conference, which wasn't saying a lot, but yeah, they've been playing a little bit better in ACC play.
Yeah, that is hysterical. Anyways,
moving to a matchup that I saw the other day in women's college basketball. Number 1 South Carolina versus number 3 LSU. Slaughter. South Carolina cannot be messed with. It's actually disrespectful.
South Carolina's like all those UConn teams that you just knew they were going to win the national championship. Like that team is just head and shoulders so much better than everyone else in women's college basketball right now.
It's a foul. Like, dude, the top 10 in college, it's like women's college basketball, like 99% of the time will not lose to anybody outside the top 10. And within that top 10, like the top 1, like literally usually it's just one team will not lose to anybody else. It's actually.
You guys know why LSU is good now in women's basketball? They're number 3.
No,
their head coach is the former head coach of the Baylor Bears women's college basketball team. Yep, she I think had some issues with something at Baylor and then moved on to LSU, and that's why they're picking it up a little bit.
Issues at Baylor. Who would have thunk?
Baylor's women's team has fallen off. They played. I watched the game they came to Gallagher-Iba to play our women's team, and we beat them by like 20 something. They're not very good anymore. Baylor really fell off.
Yeah.
But I obviously I think pretty much everyone expected South Carolina to win, just not in that fashion, considering LSU has a player who's, I can't remember what her name is, but she's currently averaging like 23 and 16 or something crazy along those lines. And
it's me.
Doesn't matter. What? Doesn't matter.
You never sniffed 23 and 6 in your life.
Ryan, didn't you get cut from 7th grade basketball?
Oh, that's tough.
It was. I
because of choir.
I fully believe it's because I had to miss a full day of tryouts to go to a choir concert.
And he will not let you tell him otherwise.
I was the second to last person cut.
I think you should.
Who was the last person cut?
I think you should have left out why you missed
dickhead
tryouts.
named Mason. He was an absolute prick.
Well, there it is.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah,
he got cut at being 6 foot in 7th grade, which I thought was hysterical.
You have to be like horrid.
Yeah, he was really bad.
Was your jumper better than his?
Dude, I was stroking it, and I still got cut. Mostly because I didn't know how to actually play basketball.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a factor. But moving on from that, quick UFC headline. I won't say his name right. Islam Makhachev, who is the current lightweight champion, defeats Alexander Volkanovski, who is the flyweight champ, in a 5-round fight via unanimous decision. I actually watched this fight, or most of it. We were watching it on not an illegal stream, and so it kind of cut out a little bit. But this was an incredible fight. Honestly, it seemed that Islam was kind of winning until the 5th round, and then Volkanovski had an incredible 5th round, and so people really thought there was going to be a split decision. But it was a unanimous decision. Like I said, this was a champ-on-champ fight. It wasn't for either one of the belts. It was just they decided to kind of cross weight classes and see what happened. And it was an incredible fight. So shout out to those guys. Congratulations to Makhachev on that win. Robbie, I'm gonna swing it over to you for Mr. Tiger Woods is coming back.
He's back
this week.
He's back.
Okay, here I got to bring this up real quick because obviously we did our GOATs draft last week, and Ryan's first pick was, I think it was 97 to 2004 Tiger Woods. My entire life, I'm about 5 years behind you guys. My entire life, I feel like I've always just heard the terminology that Tiger's back. Like I've never experienced Tiger Woods being good.
Oh, you did in the 2019 Masters. You experienced.
Okay, well, but that was like, he's back. Like that was the whole thing.
That might be one of like my all-time favorite sports moments. Like actually, like that I actually watched.
Yeah.
Incredible.
But
I'm sorry that you did not get to experience.
I never did. I've always heard him as like he fell off. Like that's what I've.
I feel like those people that like talk about MJ and like you will understand no real greatest of all time basketball till you got to see MJ play. But like that is how I feel about Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
But the gap between MJ and the best NBA players is nowhere near the gap between Tiger and what he was doing. Like.
Was he that good?
I saw some stat the other day. Like Tiger's win percentage is still so much higher than everyone else's, despite the fact that he's barely won in the last 15 years.
That's what I mean.
It's still way higher than like the next highest guy. Like it's absurd. But yeah, he played I think 16 holes today at the Genesis Pro-Am. He's gonna have a really short schedule. He's not gonna play a lot. He's just his body cannot go out and play the PGA Tour every week anymore.
Yeah.
It can't. But you'll see him in all the majors. I bet that he'll have one major that he goes into a Sunday in the top 10. And other than that, it'll probably be more sadness from Tiger Woods. But that's okay. It's good to see him back out there. We'll see how Tiger plays this year.
Someone said or there was a picture of him on ESPN or something, and there was this guy that commented, he looked like he was an older guy. He was like, "Holy crap, Tiger's really starting to look like his dad," because he's just looking a little older now, and they just think the resemblance is really there.
I think his son's gonna be really good at golf. You guys seen like the video of like him and his son playing together, and like his son just looks like Tiger playing. Like it just looks the exact same.
He's got all the same mannerisms and everything.
Yeah.
Here's a Tiger stat from 1997 to 2013. Tiger Woods was combined 126 under par in major championships, so like PGA Tour, Masters, that kind of stuff. Among the players with 90 more rounds played in the same time frame, guess who is next on the list? That's right, Steve Flesh.
Oh, nice.
251 strokes behind Woods at 125 over par. Mickelson is plus 128, and Hunter Mahan Mahan is fourth with plus 137.
That's
So
ridiculous.
that's 97 to 2013. That's like, Woods had his like prime, and then had the car accident and everything. So that's like had some not great years thrown into that.
God, he really wasn't.
So here's the win percentage stat for you guys. So obviously, like, Tiger's probably won like 3 tournaments in the past like 10 years, like something like it's not a lot.
Yeah, maybe.
He's still all-time #1 in win percentage with 22.8% of his starts on the PGA Tour resulting in a win. Next is Ben Hogan, who played like when they were like way back in the day when like no one was playing golf. He's at 21.3%. Byron Nelson's at 18.1. Sam Snead's at 14. Henry Picard at 12.9 and Jack Nicklaus at 12.2.
Woods is also credited with 41 European Tour victories, and he never was a full member.
Correct.
That's third all time.
Because they usually go play like the Scottish Open before the British Open, just so you can play like some links golf before that, and then like usually playing like the Dubai Final One and like some other like assorted tournaments they play in the European Tour. But
wow,
goat.
That's pretty impressive. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the sports headlines, that's all I have. Something a little serious, real quick. Obviously, there have been recent shootings at Michigan State University, so we want to offer our thoughts, prayers, condolences, obviously to the victims and all the families of all the victims that were affected by it. Obviously, terrible. It happens way too often, and so we wish the best for everyone involved in that situation. Obviously, it's a terrible thing for people to have to go through. Something that I felt obligated to mention on this podcast. And then we can move into our last segment, which is going to be the draft. And our draft coordinator, Robbie Bergstone, has decided on the topic. Robbie, why don't you let us in on the topic this week?
Yeah, we haven't done a video game center thing in a while, and we did a tier list that was somewhat related to this, but we're gonna do a little bit more fleshed out draft. So we are going to, in draft form, build our Generation 1 Pokemon team.
Yeah.
Oh baby.
Yeah.
So it'll be 6 picks because you gotta fill out the whole roster. And anything within the first 152 is up for grabs, but you're 151.
2? Yeah, I was about to say
150.
Come on now.
151.
What
My
the-
apologies.
Casual.
Yeah, you realize Ryan's gonna wipe us, right?
No, he's not.
All right.
Wipe these cheeks, my guy.
I kind of want number 1. I want my number 1 pick
Okay.
because I need to do more research, so I kind of want the number 1 slot.
Let me randomize the order for us.
All right, are like Mew and Mewtwo on the board? I mean, they're in the 151.
Yes. Connor, go just look up like
if they're in
Generation
the
No, I'm
if
looking.
they're
No,
in
I'm
the
looking at it.
decks-
I'm looking.
If they're in the decks, they're
Alright.
fair game.
All right.
I was hoping we'd do this without looking it up, but I guess we're not.
I have to.
All right.
I don't know Pokemon well enough.
We got Ryan, then Connor, then Robbie.
God, I'm gonna lose.
We're doing like best like team or like coolest team.
If you want to build a team of Pokemon you like, you can do that. If you want to build the best team, you can. I mean, I think you want to keep in mind, types. You don't want to load up with like 6 fire types. That's just a bad move. But
so legendaries are included.
as long as they were in the first generation of
yeah.
Pokemon, they are in play.
All 151.
Excellent. Oh, it's my pick.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that. We gotta go Mewtwo.
Yeah,
This guy.
that was a lock
This
for 1-1.
guy.
That was an absolute lock for 1-1.
Yep. You gotta get them. Gotta catch them all.
I really
Kind of
don't.
like herpes.
Okay, well,
There are multiple forms of herpes. I guess there are actually technically.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bitch.
for my
Whoa! I thought it was me.
first. No. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, my apologies. I misspoke. I was too excited.
Oh,
I forgot I had the snake. My
Relax.
bad.
God.
I'm just putting more pressure on Connor so he fucks up again.
absolutely.
I'm scared. I don't really want Mew. I don't love Mew. I never liked playing with Mew when I played him on like DS or whatever the game I played him on. I'm gonna go with Dragonite.
Great
You
pick.
bitch.
I'm taking
That's what I was gonna
Dragonite.
pick.
Great pick.
Yes.
Fuck
Not-
agony.
Not going with the classic legendary, but the pseudo legendary.
Yeah.
I think I do think that was the next best pick
Let's
on the
go.
board there.
Bricked up.
Let's go. I love it. My scouting team
Right.
finally did something
Yeah, your scouting team really
They
finally
figured it
on
out
that one, and I can
for at
respect that.
least one pick. At
Robbie's
least
not
one.
thrilled in the position he finds
Nah, he
himself,
doesn't
but he's
love
got the
that.
Yeah, I know. I'm
back-to-back,
kind of
so-
sad I got the last pick. Now, those are probably like the two like inherently strongest ones from
Yeah.
Generation One.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to think about like the build of my team and where I
The
want to go.
team
From.
comp.
See, I think I'll
Team
give like
comp.
2,
That's-
3 guys that are like good, and then the rest I'm just gonna do like fun ones that I like. I like Pokemon.
So I'm gonna go with my next favorite of the legendaries that are on the board. It's
okay.
not Mew.
Okay,
We're gonna go Articuno next. I
that's
just
I
really like
like
the
that.
typing on Articuno with
Yeah.
the ice and flying. It kind of covers it up there, and it's just a cool Pokemon. Also, Team Blue for life in Pokemon Go. So we are
Oh
absolutely out
no,
here.
Team Yellow.
I don't know what I
Team
was.
Yellow. Boo. Where do I want
He's
to go?
got the
next?
snake. Robbie's got the next pick. Wait,
I
how
do
are we?
have this.
How many are we doing?
We're gonna go 6. You gotta build your
Oh,
full
that's
team.
right. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
All
That's
right,
on-
I
that's
got
on
my
me.
next one. He's an absolute power hitter of the psychic variety. We're gonna go Alakazam.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
It's slightly early for an Alakazam, especially with Mew on the board, but I can see what you're going for.
The special attack
he-
there is too much to
God,
pass
he
up.
is annoying. Yeah, I forgot about that. He was so
Mhm.
annoying to fight.
Yeah, I do feel bad about letting Mew drop there, but I
I mean,
just really
yeah,
felt
Connor's
better
gotta
about
take
it.
him.
yes, please. I'm gonna take Mew there at the come around. I feel like that's too good value to pass up right now. I'm sorry.
That is good value, I will
Dragonite
agree.
and Mew. Are you kidding
That's a
me?
good start. That's a
Like,
good start.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Come on now. Ryan's got
Give
the
it to me.
snake.
I do be having the snake. Alakazam off the board early. Well, I wasn't
I like that.
accounting for.
Alakazam is so annoying. He's so annoying
Yeah.
to fight. Maybe reaching a little bit, but it's respectable.
You know, I got my guy when I wanted him.
You
know?
might have been
gotta
able to-
make sure you get your guy.
You might have been able to get him in that
Maybe,
third,
perhaps.
maybe.
I guess yeah. With you guys both having psychics off the board there,
Yeah. Possible.
Yeah, that's what's probably gonna
Yeah.
happen. I think for my snake, we're gonna go. We took Mewtwo round 1. I think we're gonna take Zapdos and
Mhm.
Gyarados back to back.
Son of a
Yeah.
chuck.
I
Yeah,
thought
I'm on
about
a
Gyarados. I was a little bit
Gyarados.
worried about the amount of flying on my team. I didn't want too many flyers
That's a
out
good
there.
point.
Just
It's a
get
good
absolutely
point.
That's
shot
why I took
down. That was my
Zapdos
concern.
to kind of cover my
Fair enough.
flying weakness.
Fair enough.
Well,
Fair
like,
enough.
oh, you idiot.
Gotta go Gyarados. Alexa, stop.
I am going to have to round them out. I'm going to take the last of the bird trio. I'm going to go with Moltres there. I'm gonna have to take him, so nobody else can. And it gives me a fire type. I don't have fire, so there it is. I wanted Gyarados there. I will say that it hurts a little bit to not get my
Yeah.
boy there.
That's-
But
that's fair.
I think Moltres is a good third rounder.
Okay. So I got one of my picks. Trying to decide where I want to go on the second.
Where does he want to go? See, and we're looking at legendaries, but some of those basic guys really are hard hitters, and
We haven't even taken.
underestimated.
We have not even taken a starter yet.
That's what
by
I'm
the way.
saying. They're
Keep that in mind.
underestimated.
We'll get there. We'll get
Mhm.
there.
We'll get there. Big
Yeah,
big,
big Atkins
Arbok guy?
Yeah, big.
Arbok guy.
Oh,
All right. With my next two, I'm gonna take the first starter off the board.
Yeah.
Might be a surprise on this pick. It's not the one you're thinking of.
He's going for well-rounded.
He's going for Squirtle.
I'm going for Venusaur.
Yeah,
I like
I
that.
like the grass
Venusaur's
plays in
good.
there. The double type there is nice.
there's not many
Blastoise was
grass
my
types
guy.
in this gen.
Yeah,
Venusaur's really
Blastoise
good.
was my guy for sure when I was playing these games, but I really wanted to round out, get a little bit of grass in there. And with my second pick on the comeback around, gonna get my water type. We're gonna take Lapras.
Nice.
There you go.
Lapras is a good one. See, I know
So
I
we're now in
can't.
the fourth round, by the way. You got after this round, you got 2 more picks still.
No, I'm not gonna beat you guys in terms of like how good my team is, just because y'all know Pokemon better than me. So I'm gonna go with who I want to go with, and that is gonna, in my opinion, the most handsome. Oh shoot!
Connor's going
I
for
found somebody. No. I found somebody else that I actually want. Ooh, maybe I can get the one I was talking about on the way back. I'm gonna take. I know Ryan likes him. I'm gonna take Arcanine at that 4 slot.
Not a bad pick.
That 4.
He was also a very handsome Pokemon.
But he is, but the next one I have is the most handsome, and I want that one. Yeah. Let's see what Ryan's got on the turn here. That's a
Let's
Pokemon.
see. Let's see. what are we feeling here?
What are you feeling, right?
Round 4. I don't think we can let Charizard fall any farther.
Yeah.
Fair,
Oh,
valid.
damn it.
I don't think we can let Charizard fall
How
any
did I
farther.
Yeah, you
do
took
that?
Arcanine before Charizard. That's a miss.
my
Flying on my
God.
team, don't care. They're
That's
cool.
a
They're
miss.
big.
That's my scouting team effed it up again.
Yeah, it's
That's
absolutely
pain.
brutal.
That's
That's tough.
pain. I just
no,
didn't think
I'm
of it.
not sure
That's
who
all right.
I want here at 5.
Psyduck? Oh.
You do be looking psychic-y.
Psychic.
You do be looking like a duck.
That's true. How did I?
Where's
Oh,
that
that's
fifth
so
round?
annoying.
Scouting team missed again. Really
God, we
bad.
missed Charizard. That's pain.
Scouting team's got a couple for me here.
Oh, okay, honestly, looking at their stats, it looks like Arcanine isn't that far behind Charizard.
Probably
No,
not.
he's
No.
He's not. But I'm also going for like looks.
Yeah.
Gang.
Arcanine's a good-looking Pokemon. What you talking about?
You know, I just love my boy. He's girthy, like me. He's got the ability, thick, fat.
Oh, I don't like this.
We're going Snorlax.
That was
yeah.
one that my team had pinned for sure. That was going to be taken on
See,
the comeback.
He's a strong boy.
He's the glue guy. Snorlax is the glue guy. He's not your superstar.
Yeah, he is the
but
glue
he's
guy,
the glue guy.
100%.
You
Yeah.
love him. You love
You
him
got
on the team.
Gyarados, Charizard, Mewtwo, and Zapdos all got big egos and personalities, and who brings them all home? It's my boy Snorlax.
Facts, big facts.
See, the next guy I'm going to take might not be the most talented, but he's a pretty boy. He knows he's a pretty boy, and he flaunts it on the daily. We're going to go with Ninetales on the
beauty
comeback.
contest? Did
Yeah,
we really just
yeah.
have back-to-back fire? What am I
Yeah,
watching?
what
The
is
the
happening?
scouting team
What
is
is
throwing.
I've had 3 fires in a row, but don't worry about it.
You did take Moltres, didn't you?
That's it. Fire's the best.
What an
Oh,
absolute
man.
throw out of.
I have Mew and Dragonite. I don't care about the rest of my team.
All right, for my final 2 picks, we're gonna take one guy that has my current build, both pretty girthy lads, and then we're going for my dream build on this come around pick. So we're gonna take Gengar,
Yeah,
little
okay.
short,
Great
thick
Yeah,
man.
He is good. Gengar
Love
is good.
Gengar.
He's a cool Pokemon too. He's kind of a menace. And then we're gonna take Machamp on the way back.
He is. Yeah, he's.
Both guys
Huge.
on
Bulky
my
boy.
list. Both guys
Bulky
on my
boy.
list. One
Yeah.
of them was getting picked on the turn, so that's
Yeah. I wanted Snorlax and Gengar on the way back there, but we'll take those 2 as well.
I got you.
I don't want to go with the meme. I kind of want.
He's not gonna go. He's not gonna go mono fire.
I kind of want to go with the meme. I'm going with the meme. See, my scouting team is screaming at me to not do this, but the provenly terrible scouting team.
But
Yeah,
you're the GM, so you don't care.
So I don't care what my boys say. So we're gonna go with the meme. A guy that can literally do anything. Give me Ditto in the sixth round. Give me Ditto. He can fit anywhere on the floor.
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I have no issues with that pick.
You love that pick. Good job, GM Connor.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My scouting team is a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, a bunch of schmucks.
Fire loving idiots.
Now, well, it's back to me with the last pick, and we've had a lot of guys come and go. This league is constantly got.
If you pick Pikachu, I'm gonna scream.
Flux. Why are you gonna scream?
Wait a second.
Break that down for me.
Go ahead.
I really don't know who I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna be completely honest. I wanted to slow roll that, but here we are. Robbie took the 2 guys that I wanted, like 1-2, unfortunately. So it's kind of throwing a giant wrench into my plan.
I will say there's one more starter on the board, and his third.
I know, but
evolution.
he doesn't fit with my team.
You don't
well.
like it. You don't like it. You don't like the fit.
It doesn't fit well.
I've
which
heard that
is-
before. I've never heard that ever.
We're gonna round it out with Golem.
Mm.
Okay, I like that.
We're
Okay,
gonna
well,
round it out with Golem.
No magic.
Kind of looks like me.
Mhm.
You know,
I don't know. That's
big,
Magmar.
girthy lad. His
Golem is the
abilities
rock.
are rockhead and sturdy. So I am pretty sturdy. As
That
the kids
fits.
say.
That does
And-
fit.
And any snubs, boys? Anybody? Blastoise? A little bit of a
Blastoise
snub.
snub. No EVs off the board. I'm sure
Yeah.
Robbie's girlfriend's not thrilled about hearing that.
I'm not gonna be thrilled about that. Yeah.
Onyx at all?
He's overrated.
Oh,
Onyx is
there's a take.
Maybe like Aerodactyl.
Yeah.
Kind of hits.
I love the design of Kingdra and Seadra.
Yeah.
Or Horsey. No, Kingdra's
Kingdra's later on. It's yeah.
Pikachu in terms of just what he's done for
Nido
the
Queen
league.
or Nido King too. Both kind of go hard.
He just washed, unfortunately.
Oh, Rhydon.
I think we all did a great job.
No, I do too, man.
I think Connor's got a good team.
Well, so we started off strong, and then we got really obsessed on this one type of player, and then we tried to wheel it back with Ditto at the end. With a good sneaky pick.
Connor decided to start drafting a whole team of Jimmy Garoppolo's real quick.
Indeed, I did. All right. Who wants to sign us off?
For myself, Ryan and Connor, thank you for listening to another episode of the podcast. We will be back again next week. We're actually doing it, fellas. We're back in our fucking bag right now. Thank you for listening this week, and please gamble responsibly.